welcome or welcome back to the Lit Review. Today we are going to do March's mini recommendation video for the Book Covered Book Club, which is my book club. If this is the first time you're hearing about the BCBC or Book Covered Book Club, well, this is a book club where we pick a random prompt to fulfill for the month, and you can read as many as you want, or maybe just one of any book that has that thing on the cover. It's about trying to read down our shelves based on the book cover, which some people say you shouldn't do, but I think it's an integral part of picking your books. So here at the BCBC, the Book Covered Book Club, we tend to do things in like 3 different types of prompts, either like a color, a thing, or an item that is frequently on book covers, or like kind of having a trendy moment, or maybe just like an overall design trend. This month, it was about a thing or an item, in this case, birds. Or a bird. It doesn't have to be multiple birds, just birds. And it turns out there are a lot of birds on book covers these days. And I think this trend has been around for a while. I don't think this is super new. I honestly think the reason birds or a bird is popular on a book cover is because it like lets you hint at something natural or nature and kind of nice without it being a whole forest. That's just my theory personally, but y'all tell me why you think birds are so popular in the comments below. I'm just curious. But I got off on a little bit of a tangent there. If you would like to participate in this book club, you are welcome to do that at any point in time. You can join us whenever. You can also kind of like catch up on past prompts, like there's not a lot of rules here. The only real rule is to read a book based on the prompt and have fun. So we have a Discord down below. It's a really chill Discord, like just good recommendations, occasional helping hands for other prompts, other things, but very chill, very appreciated. I will link that down below. I will also link the Book Covered Book Club Story Graph challenge if that is one of your preferred ways to keep track of things. You can also always tag me in your Instagram photos or use the hashtag Book Covered Book Club or the Book Covered Book Club, either will work, to help me find your cool photos that you post if you post on Instagram. There are also some really cute little story templates if you'd like to use those, and those will always be in my like little reel highlights if you'd like to use them on Instagram. Whew, okay. That was a lot. That was a lot of me talking at you. But what I like to do for these mini recommendation videos is because we don't have like a unified book that we're all trying to read. It's really about your own collection, or if you want to use the library or use this as an excuse to buy a book you've been wanting, all of that is welcome and good here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you roughly like 10 books from either my backlist or books I have read that I just found that have a bird or birds on the cover in the hopes that it inspires you to join this month's prompt. So let's get into it. So as always, I'm not going to focus too much on the overall content of the book. I'm mostly going to focus on what's on the cover, the title and the author's name. I might give you a little tidbit if I know something about it, but we're going to move through this quickly so that you can just get your recs and have a good time. So one of the first things that came to my mind when I was thinking of book with a bird on the cover was this little wee fantasy sci-fi tale, This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. It is a kind of like epistolary fantasy in like a futuristic space, so maybe more of a sci-fi, but 2 kind of secret agents fall in love across the letters, even though they're on opposing sides of the war. That's all I really know as a quick pitch, but like obviously there are birds on the cover of this, so good win. And this is a, I think, pretty beloved book. I still can't believe I haven't read this, especially for how short it is, so clear winner. As always with the Book Covered Book Club, you can go for a more subtle option, and any amount of the thing counts. So, and a good example of this is After Hours on Milagro Street by Angelina M. Lopez. I'm going to try to get really close here because it's very subtle, but you can see if you like look at these, they're like almost, they're birds, but they look almost like embroidered on the cover, and they're just here in the corner. You really wouldn't think about them that obviously as birds, but that's what they are. And this is a romance for my romance readers out there. The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina by Zoraida Cordova, which obviously has a gold foil hummingbird on the cover. So if you were just joining us for the Book Covered Book Club, you could probably make this work for January's prompt if you were trying to retroactively get foil design, because this is clearly very shiny, but also clearly a bird, and that'll do. So this is one that I don't own, but it is on my TBR in terms of like things I'd like to read at some point. But the cover for Akweke Emezi's You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, the American cover, I think specifically, has a hummingbird on it, and it's really gorgeous. This is Emezi's first romance novel, so that immediately has my interest piqued just on premise and concept alone, but I hear good things about it from those who've read it, so worth trying. Another one that I don't know where it is, though I do own a copy somewhere, is Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. Every once in a while, I just get suckered in to a good premise for like a mystery or a thriller. I don't have a ton of them in my collection, but this is one of them. And not only does it have a type of bird name in the title, which doesn't really help us here for the book club, but there's definitely a bird on the cover of this book, so that counts. Another one that I've been meaning to read is Gingerbread by Helen Oyemi. Helen Oyemi is an author that I just keep thinking that like, ooh, I really want to read her work, but then I never quite pick it up and I don't know why. Definitely kind of like a magical realism fairy tale type of author from everything that I've ever read about her, but Gingerbread definitely has a bird on the cover. So maybe this is my month. Then another one that I have in my collection that I don't know too much about, it came in a subscription box, but definitely has a lot of different animals on the cover, of which there is a bird, and that's Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. So this is the cover that I have, and again, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the After Hours on Milagro Street with like the textured way that the animals are on the cover, but this could work. And then the last three that I'm going to talk to you about accidentally ended up on my Litland. So I'm actually going to read 3 books that have birds on the cover, which is a happy accident because I'm never that much of a participant. I'm usually just really excited if I can get like 1 book in because that's like my pace as a reader. But I think that just goes to show how many birds or bird you can find on a cover, or a single bird you can find on the cover of these things. So it's a really popular trend. I still don't entirely know why, but birds. So the one that I am actually in the middle of reading right now in March is Once More Upon a Time by Roshani Chokshi, because it's little. It's also like, I keep talking about it every single time I mention it. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos now, even before Litland. It's just got like one of those really silicone matte textures on its cover, and I'm learning that I really like it as a tactile sensation. But you can see right here that there is a bird in a cage. And this is kind of like a riff on fairy tales that you may or may not have heard of before. But so far, I'm like 30 pages in. I just picked it up a little bit before bed last night, and it's really charming. So I'm very excited to have this on my TBR and to be able to read this for the Book Covered Book Club. The last 2 books on this list, I think, are at various levels of hype for people in the book reading community. One is a more recent release and one is a couple of years old at this point, but both of them still get a lot of love here on BookTube and on Book Talk. The newest release is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. This is also on my Litland TBR. And here's the thing, when we talk about birds or a bird on a cover, like that is clearly a silhouette of a bird. So we're going for it. I mean, I could read the book and it could come back and tell me that these are supposed to be bats. I don't actually know because I haven't read it yet. But like to my wee eye, to my I spy, this looks like birds. Sorry, I keep saying it that way because of Bambi. And I will not apologize, nor will I be changing anything about the way I say birds. But this is Talia Hibbert's YA romance debut. So I'm really excited about this. This looks like a really fun, it's also very floppy, which is always satisfying. But also on the back cover, what I'm hoping are birds. So you can also use the back cover or even the spine if that ever becomes helpful. No birds on the spine, but back cover and front cover, check. Big shout out to the crew in the Discord, and especially Ari in the comments of my Litland video, who called out that this also has birds on the cover. But that is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. This is also on my Litland TBR, and my eye did not spy that that is a bird. Like, come on, get it together, self. Like, that is clearly a bird head. And kudos to this awesome little crew that helped me realize that I actually have 3 books instead of 1. Because in my Litland video, I was like, oh, I got 1 book in there. No, false, I got 3. Huh. But this also is like a YA kind of mystery or thriller. I don't think it's quite thriller, but more like a mystery. and it's contemporary setting. But I'm really excited to finally get this on my TBR as well. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. So honestly, like for me this month alone, usually I'm like, oh, I might read this. It'd be great if I could read that. I literally am reading 3 things from my Litland. So if I can get this all done in a month, I will have like super performed in the book covered book club. But all that to say, like any amount that you get done for the book covered book club is great. Like if it's one book or if it's not, if this prompt isn't for you this month, that's okay too. This really is just supposed to be fun. So don't worry, don't stress. That's it. That's it for March. I think bird was a very successful prompt in terms of just the sheer amount of things. I had to stop myself at 10 because I definitely had something closer to 20 just casually browsing my shelves. So I encourage you, if you are, if you are not one of the people that owns like a ton of books, the library is still a great resource. So never feel like you have to like consume a lot financially to participate in this challenge. But anyway, thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day or night, wherever you're at, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hold on, girl, now wait just a minute. I've got something to say, you should hear it. Oh, I'm happy to make time for your feelings, but you have to admit I already do. Let's just break it down.